Delighted to be joined now on Chasin It on the 33rd team by a guy who knows nothing but relentless pressure and 100% effort. Raider stalwart defensive end Maxx Crosby. Max, thanks for being with us. I have to ask you first and foremost, you guys came close to making the playoffs and potentially winning the division, fell short down the stretch. Do you even watch, or is it too fresh to even watch the playoff games right now?
I'm not going to lie. I'm a football junkie at the end of the day. I watch every single playoff game from start to finish. So no matter what, obviously it sucks, to watch other teams play in the playoffs, but it gives me even more motivation, going into the offseason.
What was your favorite game today? Because so far, the first two games were awful. They were blowouts. Let's get your thoughts on the Rams-Lions game because it was the closest game. Lions, Jared Goff, win at home, 24-23. They get another home playoff game because Dallas lost, got blown out by Green Bay.
Dallas spit the bid is what happened.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. What were your thoughts on Goff and Stafford, man?
It was crazy. Got a ton of respect for both of those guys. Growing up, I was a Lions fan, so seeing Stafford do what he does was incredible. Obviously they lost, but Matthew Stafford is, in my opinion, top 5 quarterback in this league. He's incredible. I'm a little bit biased, but just the way he, makes throws, like unorthodox throws, look so routine is something that, I feel like doesn't get talked about enough. People talk about, Mahomes, changing the game with how he throws it. Like Stafford was like the original one to start doing that, I feel like. So, it was an incredible game, obviously. I know Detroit's super excited. It's been 32 years, I believe, since they won a playoff game.
Yeah.
And, that city's going crazy. And I got a ton of love for Detroit. But, it was an incredible game. Aiden Hutchinson played well. Aaron Donald made some plays. It was just a back and forth game. And, that's what you want to see. At the end of the day, there was a bunch of blowouts. And then that was finally, one of the games where
the only one.
Watched from start to finish, So it was super entertaining, to say the least.
Okay, so for people that don't know, you played your college ball in the state of Michigan. So can you sort of explain to us how significant this is? I mean, we can all say, it's been 33 decades. I remember the last game they won in the 1991 postseason when they handled the Dallas Cowboys before they got thrashed in the NFC title game. But, if you're from Michigan, you're over 30 years old. You've never experienced this feeling before. So what is it like for all the guys that have been waiting so long?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't root for the Lions. I don't. I put that out there. I definitely, my cousins and my family, I got family who are all Lions fans as well, and they're all fired up, and I just try to get under their skin and, root for the opposing team all the time just to piss them off. But, but I know the whole state of Michigan's fired up. It's almost been too much. I feel like this year with Michigan, the Wolverines getting the national title now. Detroit winning the first playoff game. It's like, this might be the year for the state of Michigan besides the Pistons. So,
definitely besides the Pistons.
Yeah, the
definitely
Pistons,
besides the
Yeah.
Pistons.
That's wild. Hey, so Max, let's talk about Antonio Pierce, man. First of all, I'm a huge fan of him. You guys were so close to the playoffs, man. It just, you could tell, like obviously you played for 14 years, and I've been around coaches that you just want to play harder for, that you just want to play tougher for, that just has the pulse on the locker room. Why do you feel so strongly about Antonio Pierce? Because I know what we do on the outside and Chasin It. We're huge Antonio Pierce fans, but what are your thoughts on him, man?
Yeah, he's incredible. From day one, he was straightforward with us. He's like, listen, I got 10 weeks. I'm playing with house money, and I'm gonna be 100% myself. I want you guys to be 100% yourself, and we're gonna change this thing around. So we literally did that on the drop of a hat. We all bought in on what he was preaching, and you just seen the turn. Not only our offense got better as the games went on, but our defense took a massive leap, and that's a credit to not only AP but PG, Pat Graham, and just everybody involved, in that process. So just seeing our defense go from one of the, bottom of the league, basically, to start the year and ending the year being a top 10 defense is crazy. So, for me, I've been very vocal about who I want, that being AP. And it's for a reason. I've been a part of a lot of turnover, a lot of change. And I want to keep building off of what we've done. It wasn't perfect. We went 5-4, but we were in every single game. And, just to break that up and start from square one again, like, that's something that I'm not interested in. I want to keep building up what we're doing because we have something special going, and I know the guys in the locker room feel the exact same way. So if I got to be the bad guy and say it vocal, be public about it, then so be it. But I just want to win. Literally, all that matters. With the Raiders.
Listen, you're not being a bad guy. You're just expressing your opinion. And I've known AP. I worked with him on NFL Live for years before he left to go be on Herm Edwards' staff at Arizona State. I texted him right after the first win. He was so jazzed about it. But here's the real question: do you think the Raiders organization learns? Because they had this similar situation a couple of years ago when you guys almost won that game in Cincinnati Wild Card Weekend. That's when Bisaccia took over for John Gruden after everything that went down, and it felt like Rich had earned the job, and he never even had an opportunity. Do you think Mark Davis and company are understanding that they don't want to make that mistake again, especially if we're talking about this kind of respect from the players?
Yeah, no question. No question. For me, I've been straight up. I've had my conversations with Mark, and I'm not a front office guy, but at the end of the day, like I'm in the locker room. I'm a captain. I have a good grip. A good grip on the locker room and the guys. And I'm not just speaking for myself, and I say this for selfish reasons. I'm speaking for the guys in the locker room, and everybody unanimously wants AP to come back. And like I said, I've been here through all those changes from Gruden, then the Bisaccia situation. We all wanted Bisaccia. We love Bisaccia too, and he's another guy I feel like should be out there getting interviews for head coaching jobs if we're being real. And getting another opportunity, usually it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Going through this situation, and we had one opportunity, and now that we got another one, you can't mess that up. You can't mess it up. And where we're going is building bringing the Raider way back, to Las Vegas, and people feel it. The fans want it. The players want it. So you got to do what's right. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. It's right in front of you. You just got to make the best decision for the organization. So that's how I feel about it.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're vocal about that, because so many times, man, like players, they just don't stand up for what they believe in. And you have an awesome platform for it. I'm glad you're doing that. Now let's talk a little bit about you as a player and the viral clip of you saying little ass boy multiple times to Gardner Minshew. And I'm just going to bring it up right now. Look, 2019, your rookie year in London, I played for the Bears. You got a sack on me, and I don't remember all that trash talk when you were a rookie. Did you just finally get into that or something? Because I honestly love it.
No, it's funny you brought that up. Literally when my people, my agency came to me and they asked about, do you want to do this interview? And I was like, who is it with? And they're like, yeah, Trey Wingo and Chase Daniel. I'm like, Chase Daniel is my first career sack. I'm doing it. So,
I'm your first. Let's go.
Hey,
Let's
never
go.
forget your first. You never forget your first.
You got a picture? Oh my gosh! You're welcome. I held onto the ball too long.
Yeah.
I held onto the ball that long.
Yeah.
Yes.
Office. You're in my office for good, and so I had to do that. But yeah, when I was a younger player, like I chirped a little bit here and there, but like I was still just trying to find my way in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
Somebody just asked me this today. They're like, do you like talk to everybody like that or whatever? I'm like, for me, I'm never the one to start the trash talking. It's always like, I'm good, I'm chill. But like if somebody, does something extra after the player, they do something like, then I take it all the way and I go way above and beyond. So that's just kind of how it was. And people don't really know that. Like I love Garner. Like Garner's a competitor. Like I played in my rookie year. Like every time I see him, like I love that he's a competitor. And the whole reason, this is what people missed on the whole deal, was I knocked him down and I went to go help him up. And he like pulled his hand away. He like pulled his.
So you were pissed off.
All right, bet. So ever since, I was ruthless and I was on him the whole game. So that's how that whole deal went down.
All right. So in other words, what you're really telling us here, because your chirping with Mahomes has become legendary. Patrick started it all? He started all that?
Well, I will say this.
Let's go.
I will say this. I definitely poke the bear. You know what I mean? I mess with people, and I want them to react. So I always mess with Mahomes. Like, that's something I've always done. But when they scored that touchdown, he ran behind me and did the same thing. He bumped me in the back when he was running in the end zone after they scored. And I'm like, all right, here we go. So then
he's got some stuff to him, man. I feel like he always does that. And you're like
I'm
the
here.
first person to be like, I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. Like, no shot.
No,
oh my gosh, bro. That's amazing.
I love that when somebody actually has stands up to me and is talking shit back. Like I love that type of because that's who I am at heart. Like no matter what I'm doing, I'm competitive as hell. Like if I'm playing 2K or if I'm playing pig in the backyard, like it's the same thing. So when I have other guys, playing against other dudes, like when you see that other side to him, like I gain respect for him. That's why me and Mahomes, like we battle, we go, head to head, but it's always, respect at the end of the day.
Well, you battle because you're never off the field. I mean, you had 10 games this season where you played every single snap on defense.
Yep.
You've played 95% of the Raiders' defensive snaps, the most of any defensive lineman. Aiden Hutchinson was second with 90. How much pride do you take in that?
I take a lot of pride in it. It's a testament to my training. I train all year round. After the season, like I take a couple weeks, but I'm still locked in. Like I'm still meal prepping. I'm still recovering every single day. Like it doesn't stop, and I always am looking to find ways to make myself uncomfortable. So like I'm not training just regular, all right, I'm running with the big guys or anything like that. Like last offseason I ran with all the skill guys and I was beating them like consistently. And I do a lot of different things from boxing to sparring, MMA or real like professional boxers. Or I went on a 10-mile run last year in Miami, one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like just doing different stuff to really put myself in like really uncomfortable situations. That's why, people talk about it on the TV, like talk about the motor and shit like that. Like I truly push myself to the limit all the time. And, that's why I'm able to play like that. So if I'm playing 60 snaps, like that's nothing to me. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I was going to ask about it because that's the thing that I noticed on film with you being in the same division as you multiple years is like your relentless motor, right? Like that's what you're known for, but also you're a tenacious competitor. So like what is an off-season training regimen from morning until night look like? Were you, like you said, meal prepping? Is it massage work? Is it a lot of cardio work? Is it strength work? Like what does that consist of with you?
Yeah. First off, I got a bunch of, respect to the guys with the Raiders, AJ Nibel, Rick Slate, Ricky, my nutritionist. I do everything in-house with the Raiders. So all my do them, all my meal prep, I pay for my meals 7 days a week. So I'm literally everything dialed in all year round. So I'm never going into training out of shape. I stay in shape all year round. So the training regimen, I'm in there bright and early. I'm 6 to 12. That's 6 hours of work by noon, and I'm home on a daily basis. So I'm doing that all off season, and it's just like finding that little 1% in every category that I can improve on. So for this off season, I've sat down with all my team, everybody involved with my training going into this off season, and like my main thing is refine. Like I want to refine every little detail. I want to start from scratch, but how could we build up and how can we find that little bit of improvement in every category so I can take another big leap next year? So it starts with surgery. I got surgery next week. I got to get my thumb fixed. I got to get my knee fixed. But it'll just be a part of the process. I've done it before. 2 years ago, I had to get my labrum repaired. I had to get my hand fixed before. So it's just they know what we got going on. With my body, but we fit it in. We have a full plan, and it's literally scheduled out on a yearly basis. So everything is dialed in from start to finish, to recovery, to massages. I'm getting 3 massages a week in the off season. Like it's nonstop. So that's what it is for me. It's every single day. Everything's planned out. I just got a cold tub and a sauna at the house now. So on the weekends when I'm not in the building in the off season, I still got my recovery at home. So it's just that little, how can I take that next step? Because my foundation's huge. But it's just about how can I find that next level to tap into.
Well, it's funny because I remember your rookie year when you guys were on Hard Knocks. You went to preseason game and you broke your hand, and you're like, "I've never broken a bone in my body before." So, that was I remember that whole thing. That was great. So, we appreciate your time, and we don't want to keep you too long. So, before we let you go, I just want to ask, where you are now is one of the premier rush ends in the NFL, and I think you got jobbed on the All-Pro team, by the way, but that's a separate issue entirely. Did you ever think you'd be here after being the 106th pick in the 4th round of the 2019 draft?
That's a great question. At that time when I was a rookie coming into the league, like I had just turned 21, my mindset was like, my mind was in a whole different place. Like I love football, but I didn't understand what it is, what it took to become a professional. Then once I learned how to become a professional, how could I become the best at what I do? in this building, a bunch of professionals in this building. Okay, how can I outwork all these guys? So it just was a step-by-step basis. And, you know, I never knew what it would take to get to this level, but like, you know, every single day, like I'm always trying to outdo myself. So I'm never like predicting, all right, I'm going to do this, this, and this. It's like, all right, how can I take this next step in this area today? And all I worry about is today. And then when tomorrow gets here, I worry about tomorrow. And so like, it's just a gradual build every single day. And that's what leads to the results. I'm never stressing about going to play a game, because once I get to game day, I knew I did everything in my power to be at my best on that day. So it's the most free feeling in the world. But to answer your question, like, I didn't know I would be doing this, but I always had a deep belief in myself as a football player. So it really took discipline and day by day, you know, routine to get to where I'm at. And the great thing about it is I know I'm still not my best, and that's what pushes me every single day.
Well, listen, from the guy that gave you your first sack in Chase to the guy who was the first guy to call your name in the NFL when I did the draft in 2019, it has been phenomenal to see your success, and we hope nothing but great things continue down the road. And thanks for being with us here tonight.
Absolutely, I appreciate you guys so much. We'll have to do it again with some more time for sure.
Thanks.
We got no problem with that. Trust me.